The Ranger class in Terraria comprises of using bows and guns with a huge range of different ammo types. Rangers are a strong class from the beginning to the end of the game, but what if we did something crazy and break the class completely? How's it going, crew? This is HappyDays, and today we're going to see how overpowered you can make the Ranger class in Terraria. It's been almost 5 years since we started the OP series, and by popular demand, it's time to update our OP class videos to cover all the new OP weapons, armor, and updates. As always, I'll display all the usual rules on screen. Basically, we'll be farming, looting, and crafting the absolute best ranger equipment available at several major stages of the game to get completely overpowered. With that said, let's get this crazy challenge started. Our adventure begins with the guide instantly angering the local slime population as I begin collecting plenty of wood and stone. I'm excited as rangers can power up really early, but first we'll need to craft a ranged weapon. Did you know you can keep crafting wooden bows until you get a good modifier? As early bows have no knockback, I keep crafting bows until we get a demonic modifier and throw my nasty sword in the trash. I also craft some wooden armor, some torches, and a bunch of arrows. I then upgrade a few arrows to burning arrows for some extra damage. I'll also build some beautiful NPC houses that totally aren't just rectangle prisons because I want them to suffer, as there's a few NPCs like the arms dealer will want to get as soon as possible. In the Crimson, I quickly chop down some shadewood trees and craft a shadewood bow to help me fend off the Crimson mobs. We eventually get surrounded, so I craft some more bows and get the demonic modifier for a nice power boost. A nearby tree gives me the remaining wood for a full set of shadewood armor before I make my escape with the Crimson mobs hot on my heels. After fleeing to the snow biome, I catch my breath while harvesting plenty of ice blocks. We'll be using these to craft frostburn arrows, which inflict the frostburn debuff. Only 32 enemies in the whole game are immune to frostburn, and it deals tons of damage, so it's well worth the effort. Our first gun is available right now, but we'll need some explosives to get it, so after crafting some more torches, I head underground to start looting. We're always after more life crystals, but as a ranger, we can stock up on ammo early, as the pots and chests drop shuriken, throwing knives, and grenades for a nice power boost. With my inventory full, I head back to base and buy a pig and mining helmet from the merchant, and then craft a furnace and anvil and grab a tungsten bow, an emerald gem hook, and an iron pickaxe before heading back to the Crimson. Barely making it to the entrance alive, I descend into the Crimson caverns. We're in expert mode in a small world, so these mobs are packing quite the punch. After throwing a few bombs, we grab the Undertaker, a powerful handgun for this stage of the game. I decide to blow up another Crimson heart, and we get an Undertaker with a better modifier for a nice power boost. Back underground, I keep looting while I wait for the demolitionist to spawn. Our first ranger armor is available to us right now, but I'll need plenty of explosives to get it. As well as grabbing extra life crystals, I'm also on the lookout for plenty of tungsten ore. We can use tungsten bars to upgrade our musket balls to tungsten balls for an extra 2 points of damage, so it's well worth the effort. With the arms dealer and demolitionist moved in, I buy some extra musket balls as well as bombs, keeping in mind I need to save a whopping 35 gold for the mini shark. We use our tungsten bars to upgrade our ammo and craft a tungsten pickaxe before heading to the desert for a major excavation. I blast my way into the desert as we search for desert fossils and an extractinator. Desert fossils have a chance to turn into sturdy fossils when used in an extractinator, which can then be used to craft a ton of useful ranger equipment. Everything was going smoothly until I trigger a sand trap, and this early in the game that spells certain doom for our poor ranger. Still, I stick at it, find another life crystal, almost die in another sand trap, and eventually we find an extractinator and our mission is complete. Back at base, I feed our shiny new extractinator way too many desert fossils, get the very rare amber mosquito that I'll totally sell for reforging money, and then craft a set of fossil armor as well as a stack of bone javelins and throwing knives for a nice damage boost. I mix up a few spelunker potions before heading back out for more loot. Now we're powered up, it's time to brave the underground jungle for our next weapon, the boomstick. This powerful shotgun can be found in ivy chests and is an incredible crowd control weapon for this stage of the game. We soon find our prize, and I gladly equip our new toy to my hotbar, ready to dish out some huge damage to those annoying hornets. A few life crystals later, I completely ignore the suspicious dynamite as I mine up when a dead man's chest stops my looting spree. The next morning, I get the message the goblin army is coming to visit, so I quickly stock up on grenades, grab the mini shark from the arms dealer, and make some buff potions as I prepare for battle. I fire our flare gun to debuff them with fire, throw a few bone knives, and then lob some grenades at the grouped up goblins before finishing off the stragglers with our powerful boomstick. The goblins don't stand a chance, and soon enough they flee in terror from our overpowered ranger. After stopping my base from burning down from all the flares, I craft a golden pick before digging a elevator. Besides maxing out our health, I'm also on the lookout for the bound goblin, which can now spawn that the goblins have been defeated. With absolutely perfect timing, just as I find the last life crystal for max health, the goblin makes an appearance. I buy the rocket boots and Tinkerer's workshop, but realize I can't afford any reforges, so I leave to continue looting as the goblin laughs at how poor I am. We've almost done everything a ranger can do before their first boss, but there's still still a few last power-ups we need. That night, I start to build a sky bridge so I can easily collect fallen stars. Besides making the powerful jester arrows, fallen stars are also ammo for one of the strongest pre-hard mode weapons that we'll get in the next stage, so I want to stock up on them now. After crafting a fishing rod and some bait, it's time to organize our buff potion supply. Buffs in Terraria give your character so many bonus stats, and a lot of them are available early game, such as iron skin and regeneration. The fish we want at this stage are hemo piranhas, crimson tigerfish, double cod, and armored cavefish to craft the heart reach, rage, ammo reservation, and endurance potions respectively. Our next bow also requires fishing, so after setting up an arena over the ocean with some lava traps, I place down a toilet and prepare for a few days in bed waiting for a blood moon to begin. Eventually a blood moon spawns and I get straight to work fishing. During a blood moon you can fish up special enemies, and in pre-hard mode the wandering eyefish and zombie merman both have a 12.5% chance to drop the blood rainbow. Along the way we also get useful items like chum and the chum caster, which increases our chance of fishing up the special mobs. A few nights of farming later, a zombie merman feels sorry for me and finally drops the blood rainbow, and as it works similar to the Daedalus Stormbow, I can safely blast away at the enemies outside from my arena. I keep farming mobs until I snag 2 shark-tooth necklaces for the 5 points of enemy armor penetration before moving on with our challenge. We're still missing some key items and I need more cash for reforging, so it's time for a worldwide looting tour. Did you know the Terra Spark boots can be crafted before defeating any bosses in Terraria? As I mentioned in our last OP video, all the items for the Terra Spark boots can either be crafted, looted, or purchased, and as every class uses them, here's an image instead of showing all the pain I'm about to go through to get them. I will give you one tip however if you're struggling to find a lava charm, and it involves visiting the underworld. Hellbats drop the magma stone, which can be transmuted to a lava charm, and seeing as we need to farm fire imps for an obsidian rose anyway, we can get both of them at the same time. Speaking of transmuting items, it's time to prepare for our first shimmer run. I start by swinging past the desert to fish up some oysters to get a pink pearl. This can be transmuted to a galaxy pearl, which increases our luck, and since we'll be farming mobs for items in this challenge, increasing our luck will be super useful. While I'm out searching for the ether, I mine up all the small pockets of crimtane ore that we can find. Although our blood rainbow is strong, it overrides unique arrow effects, so I want a crimtane bow to fire utility arrows like our frostburn ones. After finding the shimmer, I throw in a life crystal, pink pearl, and wooden arrows to make a vital crystal, galaxy pearl, and shimmer arrows, and the vital crystal gets stuck because of course it does, so I enjoy a nice shimmer bar. Back at base, I combine all the accessories I scoured the world for to craft the Terra Spark boots before heading back out for more loot. We're almost finished the first stage, but we're about to spend a ton of cash on upgrades, and I'll need more loot to sell if I'm going to afford it all. I blast my way through the underground desert, collecting some more desert fossils and grabbing any loot I can find. Firstly, this will give me more sturdy fossils to make more bone throwing weapons, but it'll also give me more loot and cash by processing them all. Back at base, I run everything through the extractinator and I get lucky with some gold coin drops and plenty of gems. I then craft a tendon bow from all the crimtane ore we collected earlier before selling all the loot I've been collecting so far to these NPCs that seem to buy any old junk we offer them with an endless supply of cash. Finally, I visit everyone's favorite goblin tinkerer who better not waste all my money by destroying my items. I'll be going for the lucky modifier on our accessories, as the rapid firing ranger class benefits from lots of critical hits. With everything reforged, we go looking for burgers in the Crimson. That's right, the Chimeras drop burgers, which gives the exquisitely stuffed food buff with a 1% drop chance, and I'll be grabbing a few of them. Burgers secured, back at base, I grab a watch and get into bed as we still have one item to acquire, and it is the ghee sold by the traveling merchant. With amazing luck, the merchant actually spawns the next morning, but of course he doesn't have our item because he wants to see me suffer. I really gotta speed this up, so I craft a gold broadsword, get some honey and stink bugs, and then craft the fly meal. I then politely ask the merchant if I can permanently borrow his hat, and he is kind enough to give it to me. Returning to the shimmer, I throw the hat in to get the peddler's satchel, which increases the traveling merchant's inventory by 1 item. 2 years later, the merchant returns and I wave my fly meal threateningly at him as he sells me the ghee nervously, which gives us an extra 5% critical strike and 10% extra movement speed. After borrowing another hat, all that's left is to grab a bunch of buff potions as stage 1 is complete. The first stage is always the biggest in the game in terms of power up available, so here's what I achieved in pre-hard mode before our first boss battle. We have the Undertaker, Tendon Bow, Boomstick, Blood Rainbow, and Mini Shark, all with their best modifiers. Our utility weapons are the Flare Gun, Bone Javelins, Grenades, and Spiky Balls, as well as Shimmer and Frostburn arrows with Tungsten Bullets. We have a full set of fossil armor, but I've actually equipped the ghee chest piece for the extra damage stats, and our main accessories are the Shark Tooth Necklace and Terra Spark Boots. I've got lucky on all my accessories for a whopping 20% bonus to our critical strike chance. For honorable mentions, I'd like to say the Ancient Shadow Armor is slightly better if you're playing in a corruption world, which leads me to something I almost totally forgot, and that's the blowpipe. This ranged weapon is found in wooden chests near the surface layer, and when armed with poison darts, it makes it an excellent debuffing weapon. It's time to start stage 2, and that means we can access everything up to the Wall of Flesh battle. The Queen Bee drops the bee's knees, and it's an excellent direct damage bow that converts wooden arrows to homing bees. It also drops bee nades, which is a powerful crowd control throwing weapon, and we can craft even more of them ourselves from the bee wax that the boss drops. The fight goes well as I pummel the bee with debuffs and boomstick blasts, and soon enough it falls. Unfortunately, I don't get the bee's knees, but I can simply keep crafting abominations to fight more queens while my buffs are active, and the next bee thankfully drops our prize. I still need the honeycomb to craft the stinger necklace, so I farm a few more bees for extra cash, and eventually I get it before moving on with our adventure. Back at base, I combine the honeycomb and our second shark tooth necklace to make a stinger necklace for another 5 points of armor penetration on our attack. Then it's time to upgrade our fire damage. I start by crafting a keg and then making some mugs. I fill all the mugs with ale and then craft fiery presents for some massive area of effect fire damage that will be useful in our next boss fight. Then we grab a few more reforges on our new equipment before moving on. After preparing an arena deep in the Crimson, I blast the last Crimson Heart and summon the Brain of Cthulhu. I give the creepers a fiery surprise and then lob a few bee nades at them, which quickly destroys them, and then land a few debuffs on the Brain's second phase. The mini shark is an excellent weapon here as it can easily keep up with the teleporting Brain. The poor Brain doesn't stand a chance against our OP Ranger, and I decide to farm a second Brain to get more crafting materials to sell. That night, while I wait for a meteorite to fall, I farm a few Eyes of Cthulhu using the suspicious looking eyes I've collected earlier in our adventure. Before I head back out, I convert all the Crimtane ore to bars and craft a set of Crimson armor and a Deathbringer pickaxe. A quick note, you do lose some crit chance by doing this, but you gain some damage, defense, and a lot of regen. After looking around for the meteor crash site, I find some meteor heads near my desert fishing spot and quickly get to work mining up the meteorite ore. Meteorite bars can be used to upgrade our mini shark to the star cannon, which is arguably one of the most powerful weapons in all of pre-hard mode. Before we can craft our new toy, however, I decide to take on Skeletron and raid the dungeon. I start with our usual combo of fire, bees, and spears before rotating through our stronger weapons to dish out the pain. Once the hands are down, I just keep applying debuffs while alternating between our boomstick and bee's knees, and soon enough the giant skull falls and we make our way into the dungeon. With amazing luck, the first gold chest we unlock has both the handgun and shadow key we were after. Before we leave, however, I'll need to collect 150 bones to craft the necro armor, which is our next major upgrade, so I spend some more time looting and exploring the domain of the undead. Ah, a nice lava bath, just the thing we need to collect some tombstones. After turning our base into a graveyard biome, I buy the quad barrel shotgun from the arms dealer before crafting a set of necro armor. We then craft the super powerful star cannon before heading to the underworld to continue our looting spree. And we start with all those shadow chests I couldn't open up earlier. Not only are shadow chests a good source of potions and hellfire arrows, we can also snag the Hellwing bow, which turns wooden arrows into infinitely piercing flaming bat projectiles. If you're a regular to our OP series, you'll know Hellstone ore is a fantastic source of income at this stage of the game. We'll also need some to upgrade our handgun and craft more hellfire arrows, so I'll make sure to mine up tons of the stuff. Back at base, it's time to go shopping, but first I'll need some cash, so I convert all our Hellstone ore into bars and then upgrade our handgun to the Phoenix Blaster, make a molten pickaxe and ham axe, as well as the Molten Fury. I then sell a stack of Hellstone bars to the party girl and buy a party center. This allows me to start a party event and buy Pigranadas from her. Pigranadas have an 11% chance to drop party bullets when destroyed, which are the highest damage bullet in pre-hard mode. A few days of grinding cash later, all that's left is to buy a blowgun from the witch doctor to upgrade our blowpipe and donate most of my money to the greedy goblin as he happily destroys my new OP equipment. As always, stage 2 is a lot faster, but we still got a ton of upgrades. I have the Phoenix Blaster, quad barrel shotgun, Hellwing bow, star cannon, and blowgun, all with the Unreal modifiers. We've got a full set of necro armor, and for accessories I've gone with a stinger necklace, brain of confusion, and hive pack, all with the lucky modifier. As we're focusing on raw damage, I'm using hellfire arrows and party bullets, but feel free to swap in any other utility ammo as you need it. Stage 3 is here and it's time to power up in hard mode. Before we do that, however, we need to take out the Wall of Flesh, so I quickly make an arena in the underworld. With the runway complete, I throw the poor guy doll into the lava, chug all our buffs, and begin the battle. I kick things off by pummeling the hungries with a barrage of bee nades and fiery beverages before poisoning the wall with our blowgun. I then clear up the stragglers with our Hellwing bow and quad barrel shotgun before hurling more explosives at the giant wall. The poor wall is crying for mercy when we finally unleash our star cannon, which finishes his battle off in mere seconds. I tear open the treasure bag, and with incredible luck, we not only get the ranger emblem complete with a lucky modifier already, but we snag a clockwork assault rifle for a nice early hard mode power boost. Now we're in hard mode, we can get some massively OP weapons and I can't wait to get my hands on them. I start by buying a shotgun and ammo box from the arms dealer as well as a stack of empty bullets. I then get some explosive powder from the demolitionist and craft exploding bullets for an upgrade over our party bullets. It's graveyard time once again as I place all the tombstones near the dryad so I can buy corrupt seeds from her as we need a few items from an artificial corruption biome. Next I swing past the crimson and smash a bunch of crimson altars to generate some hard mode ores in our world. I know we could just fish for hard mode ores, but I need a few items from hard mode mobs anyway, so I may as well do some farming while I'm mining the ores. Most of you know the deal with mining hard mode ores by now, but I'll put an overlay on screen if you're new here about how the progression works. I also rescue the nice wizard who decided it would be fun to sit under a boulder trap and get me instantly destroyed. Still, I noticed a lot of skeleton archers spawning near the traitor wizard, so I decide to set up a farm and grab the magic quiver while I'm full of rage. Before we can upgrade our armor, there's still some more materials I need, so after setting up a box prison in the snow biome, I sleep in a warm bed waiting for a blizzard to begin. Once a blizzard whips up, I go hunting for ice golems. These powerful rare enemies that only spawn during blizzards drop frost cores and ice feathers. I need both these items to craft the frost breastplate and frozen wings for a nice power boost. It takes a few golems, but eventually the ice feather drops and all that's left is to visit an old friend. With the rain cleared up, I head to space to borrow some souls of flight from the crazy wyvern. We only need 20 souls of flight and thankfully we get them from our very first wyvern. Back at base, I upgrade our hellforge to an adamantite forge and then craft a stack of adamantite bars. Did you know that mixing an adamantite helmet, frozen chest plate and mithril greaves gives the biggest range of damage stats at this stage of the game? I also make a set of frozen wings and adamantite repeater to replace our molten fury. Now we're a lot stronger, I explore the underground crimson and hallow to collect souls of light and night. The mobs even farm me while I try to farm them, so at least we're sharing the pain. While they're extremely dangerous to fight, I also need to farm plenty of Ica stickers to collect ichor as it can be used to craft armor reducing ammo. Thankfully the underground hallow is a little bit quieter, so I collect some crystal shards as they're used to make some powerful crystal bullets. That is until I upset a hallowed mimic, and fighting in this enclosed area quickly leads to me getting destroyed yet again. I swing past base and craft a stack of crystal bullets and ichor darts to get revenge on the dumb biome mimic as I craft a few keys of light and night. But who's got time to farm, right? So in a move that totally won't get me killed, I summon all 8 biome mimics at once and hit them with ichor for a whopping 15 points of armor penetration. I then spam our powerful star cannon as they neatly line up in a row trying to eat my soul for tons of damage. Well, that is until they start jumping everywhere, but we grab a dart pistol for our efforts and another key later I manage to snag the powerful Daedalus Stormbow for a nice upgrade. The chaos continues in the jungle as I battle hordes of enemies trying to get an Uzi from the angry trappers that spawn there. About an hour and hundreds of derplings later, with my sanity quickly fading, I keep refining my jungle farm until finally an angry trapper drops our prize. Next it's time to play with some artificial biomes, so in the desert I place some crimstone in the air and then lay some sand on top to corrupt that as well. This allows me to farm dark shards from the blood mummies for the onyx blaster without corrupting our entire desert in the process. I also finally use those corrupt seeds near our underground fishing spot to turn it into an artificial corruption biome. This allows me to fish up Ebenkoi to make wrath potions as well as catch a Toxicarp. The Toxicarp is a ranged weapon that doesn't use ammo and can inflict the poison debuff, making it a useful secondary weapon. Holy arrows pair well with our Daedalus Stormbow, so I visit the nearby Hallow to quickly farm a few pixies and unicorns for pixie dust and unicorn horns to craft them. Back at base, I can now upgrade our shotgun to the Onyx Blaster for a nice power boost. I also craft a stack of holy arrows and our flare gun is back in the mix as I can now craft cursed flares that inflict the Cursed Inferno debuff. There's only one weapon left to grab and we're going to need a mob grinding arena to get it. That's right, I'm going to attempt to get the extremely rare coin gun that has a 1 in 4,000 chance to drop from pirates during the pirate invasion. But first, we'll need some pirate maps. Pirate maps have a 1% chance to drop from enemies that can drop coins in the ocean biome. My favorite way to farm pirate maps is to create an artificial jungle biome using 140 jungle blocks and then stand in the water to cause the arapaimers to rush at me. With a few pirate maps collected, it's time to farm some pirates. The volcano trap works by letting the pirates walk up the smooth edges of the trap, but the small overhangs on each side trap them inside as they can't jump back out. Using a small 1 block wide gap at the base of the trap, I can easily fire up from my safety box and farm the pirates with ease. After 50% of the invasion is complete, the Flying Dutchman has a chance to spawn. I zoom out for this and use my Daedalus Stormbow to attack it using our new holy arrows. It's much better to farm the Flying Dutchman for items as it has a much higher chance of dropping rare pirate items, including a 2% chance of dropping the coin gun itself. With incredible luck, however, on our third pirate map, the coin gun actually dropped from a regular pirate. That said, I'll still need tons of cash for all the reforging I'm about to do, so I decided to just keep churning through these pirates for even more cash. One thing I almost forgot was to fish up some prismite in my now hallowed desert biome. Prismite are used to craft life force potions for an extra 20% health, which is well worth the effort. After selling all my loot, all that's left in this stage is some reforging, so I grabbed my upgraded greedy ring to lower the evil goblins' prices before reforging all of our new equipment. Stage 3 is complete and we got a ton of powerful upgrades, getting us more than ready to smash some hard mode bosses. I have the dart pistol, Toxicarp, Onyx Blaster, Uzi, and Daedalus Stormbow, all the unreal modifiers, as well as the coin gun that unfortunately can't use modifiers. We've added the frozen wings, ranger emblem, and magic quiver to our accessories, and a mixed armor set for the maximum damage output. Our Ichor darts and cursed flares give us access to some powerful debuffs, followed by crystal bullets and holy arrows for direct damage. Also, a quick note on the coin gun. With platinum coins dealing twice the damage over gold coins, they're clearly the OP choice, but most players will have an easier time using gold coins as ammo. Stage 4 is here and it's time to destroy these hard mode bosses. Fans of our OP series will already know which boss I want to take out first, but I'm sure you can guess which boss it is, as I'm hunting for truffle worms in the mushroom biome. That's right, we're going straight for Duke Fishron to get our hands on the tsunami and a pair of Fishron wings. For this fight, I've equipped the Shield of Cthulhu and Brain of Confusion for some extra evasion against the high damage of Expert Fishron. I start by debuffing Fishron with Ichor and Cursed Flames before rotating through my Onyx Blaster, Coin Gun, and Daedalus Stormbow for damage. The third form begins as the screen darkens. I fly up and down constantly, trying my best to avoid its charges while my Daedalus Stormbow unleashes arrows everywhere. Finally, the evil beast falls and I happily open my treasure bag, and disappointment sets in as we get the flare on. Still, the Expert Shrimpy Truffle gives me an idea to upgrade our arena. The next day, I summon another Fishron and get to battle in my upgraded arena. Using bubble blocks and honey, I've created liquid pillars to fly through on my new Shrimpy Truffle mount. Did you know the Shrimpy Truffle gives a 15% damage boost and moves incredibly fast after touching liquids? The speed boost allows me to easily stay ahead of Fishron and continually blast it with my coin gun. Still, I need to jump back off the mount and fly in circles to avoid the rapid third phase charges, but soon enough another Fishron goes down and we get the Fishron wings, but still no tsunami. Later that day, after a third Fishron is defeated, we claim our prize, and even though it's a bad modifier, I decide to farm the rest of my truffle worms for even more loot to sell. After restocking my supplies and reforging our new tsunami, it's time to pick on the mech bosses. I kick things off by summoning the Destroyer. As expected, the high damage of the tsunami paired with holy arrows absolutely decimates the giant worm in no time. The twins and Skeletron Prime suffer similar fates at the hands of our OP Ranger as we tear them to pieces, which is nice after our tough battles against Duke Fishron. With the mech bosses defeated, life fruit will start growing in the jungle, so while I wait for that, it's time to prepare a house for the Truffle NPC. The Truffle will move into a surface glowing mushroom biome and sells the Auto Hammer, which is used to craft Shroomite bars that I can use to craft the Shroomite armor. I'll check back on the Truffle later, but for now it's time for some upgrades with our new hallowed bars. I craft the Flamethrower, the Mega Shark, and upgrade our Star Cannon to the Super Star Shooter. I also craft a Pickaxe axe so I can mine up Chlorophyte ore before crafting a Destroyer emblem before heading to the jungle. I mow through the jungle looking for life fruits and Chlorophyte ore. Life fruits tend to be fairly spaced out, but I need plenty of Chlorophyte ore and loot anyway, so I just enjoy the looting spree while using our new weapons. With our health at max, I make sure to swing past the Aetherer to transmute a life fruit into an Aegis fruit for an extra 4 defense. We've still got a ton of upgrades available, but they're locked behind defeating Plantera, so before I leave the jungle, I decide to test out our new toys on the giant plant. I start by debuffing Plantera before unleashing our new tsunami on it with a dash of our new Mega Shark and Superstar Shooter. Once its second form begins, our new Flamethrower makes short work of the tentacles while I keep the damage up against the core. Soon enough, the Flowery Beast is defeated and we grab the powerful Venus Magnum handgun for our troubles. We've got some tough battles coming up, so it's time for some upgrades. I start by swinging past Mushroom Land and collecting lots of mushrooms before visiting the fun guy himself to buy an Auto Hammer. Back at base, I craft a stack of Chlorophyte bars and make a Chlorophyte shot bow before using our new Auto Hammer to convert some of those bars into Shroomite bars. I then make a set of Shroomite armor with all 3 helmet types to cover gun, bow, and specialist damage types. We then visit the Cyborg and buy the Proximity Mine Launcher and some Rocket 3s for it before lastly upgrading those to Mini Nuke 1s before heading back out for more upgrades. Plantera unlocked the Pumpkin and Frost Moon events, which will have some huge upgrades for rangers, but to summon those we'll need some ectoplasm from the dungeon. While I'm out collecting it, I'm on the lookout for skeleton snipers as I need the rifle scope accessory for some powerful post-golem upgrades in the next stage. We might be an OP ranger, but I still die a bunch here as we're a total glass cannon, but eventually we find all the things we need and get plenty of loot to sell in the process. Back at base, I start to update our pirate arena for the Pumpkin and Frost Moon events. In my experience, one of the best ways to deal with these two events is to have a large pit full pool of lava for the weaker mobs to get stuck in. With the arena set up, I swing past base to craft a few pumpkin moon medallions and naughty presents, as well as stack up on clarified bullets for their homing attacks. Once nighttime is here, I use the medallion and start the pumpkin moon. I only need the stake launcher, which drops from morning wood, so I'll use this event as a warm-up for the much tougher frost moon. Our arena works great at keeping the trash mobs at bay while I deal with the morning woods and pumpkins, and soon enough we snag the stake launcher. The next morning I equip some of my new weapons to try them out and visit the arms dealer who sells a lot of these custom ammo types. At night we zoom out again for the frost moon. There's 3 weapons that we want to get our hands on here: the elf melter and the chain gunner from the Santa NK1, and the snowman cannon is from the Ice Queen. Although our new toys are fun, the tsunami is still our best boss killer, especially when I use our dart pistol to apply ichor first, so I swap to our shroomite headgear for maximum damage. Soon enough we've collected all our prizes as stage 4 is almost complete. While I'm still in combat mode, I drop by the wall of flesh to borrow a few more emblems, as we're gonna need a bunch of them in the next stage. Back at base, all that's left to do is sell all our loot before reforging all our new equipment, as stage 4 is complete. Stage 4 has some huge upgrades for our OP ranger, including the tsunami, elf melter and snowman cannon, all with the unreal modifiers, and I went for the godly modifier on the chain gun. We also picked up a suit of shroomite armor with all 3 headpieces and a pair of fishron wings and Avenger emblem. The final stage is here, and everything in the game is now available to us for our ranger to become truly overpowered. I start things off by smashing my way through the temple to make my way to Golem, as defeating it unlocks a bunch of new upgrades as well as the path to the Moonlord itself. After getting a basic arena prepared, I use a lizard power cell on the altar and start the battle with Golem. I open with ichor and then start blasting poor Golem with all our powerful weapons. The snowman cannon is especially good at targeting the fast moving arms, and our tsunami deals immense damage to the body in its second form. Soon enough, Golem explodes and we grab the treasure bag and snag a Golem fist, which is useless to us, so I keep on farming. I need 2 Eyes of Golem accessories to craft the powerful recon and sniper scope accessories, so I keep grinding Golems until I get our prizes before moving on. Before I can craft the recon scope, however, I need the putrid scent accessory, so we return to our artificial corruption biome to hunt for corrupt mimic. Thankfully, it doesn't take long before one spawns naturally, and with some amazing luck, the first one we fight drops the putrid scent. Back at base, I head straight for the Tinkerer's Workshop to make a second destroyer emblem and then upgrade both of them to sniper scopes. Then I combine a sniper scope and a putrid scent to make the recon scope for a whopping 20% extra bonus crit rate and range damage. With Golem defeated, the cultists are now spawning, so with our enhanced damage, I blast them to pieces before taking on the lunatic cultists. This boss moves really fast, and unfortunately ichor doesn't work on it, so I rely on our powerful homing attacks while I focus on dodging. I do take a few hits, but I manage for once to not spawn any extra cultists, and eventually the crazy boss goes down and a stardust pillar spawns around me. We're after Vortex though, so I hightail it straight to the Vortex pillar and start fighting the hordes of enemies there. Although we're dishing out tons of damage now, our glass cannon build means we can't take too many hits, so I totally hide in the nearby jungle to heal up halfway through. Soon enough, the shield falls on the pillar, and just as we blow it up, the enemies blow me up too. Thankfully, the pillar was near our base, so I quickly head back and grab all the fragments. After a big day of fighting, we return to base to craft some of our final weapons, the Vortex Beater and the Phantasm. I'll reforge these 2 powerhouses straight away to get Unreal on them before I head back out to fight more pillars. Our new weapons make the next 2 pillars a breeze. I happily collect up the fragments, but before we fight the Stardust pillar, it's time to get our Moonlord arena all ready. All I do is set up a simple spawn point above our event arena so we can use our old fallen star bridge to battle the Moonlord on. With our arena set up, I start smashing the Stardust mobs using the Star Cell farming trick by only destroying their big cells to reduce the spawn rates of the other Stardust mobs. Eventually the pillar falls, so I quickly grab the fragments before teleporting back to our arena, refreshing our buffs and waiting for the Moonlord to appear. We're using our Shrimpy Truffle once again for the 15% damage boost plus a massive increase to our movement speed. Usually I like to aim for the forehead eye first, but it's a little tricky with this strategy as I need to stay further back from the Moonlord to stay ahead of its attacks. Things do get easier once the core opens, so now I can just go full auto with our Vortex Beater and focus on dodging, and soon enough the Moonlord is defeated. The battle went okay, but I certainly feel if we're going to call our ranger truly OP, we need to absolutely destroy the Moonlord with even more power, and I think I've got just the trick to do it. For my secret OP strategy against the Moonlord, I need the Soaring Insignia from the Empress of Light treasure bag, which means I need to find and destroy a poor little lacewing in the Hallow. With the butterfly obliterated, the Empress spawns and I quickly get to work blasting it to pieces. Our weapons are way too much for the Empress to handle, and soon enough it falls and another one spawns straight away because of course it does. So I open our treasure bag, equip the Soaring Insignia before farming a second Empress for more loot. The big question, however, is how do we use the Vortex Armor's incredibly powerful set bonus against the Moonlord without dying, and what is the ultimate OP build for rangers stages in Terraria. I spent some time grinding the pillars and Moonlord to find out. After a few more runs through the pillars, I now have a full set of Vortex armor and an Unreal SDMG and Celebration Mark II. For accessories, we have the Recon and Sniper scopes, and to give full mobility to our Vortex armor in stealth mode, I'm using the Celestial Starboard and Soaring Insignia. I fight the Moonlord by immediately going into stealth mode and flying circles around it using our Chlorified bullets to keep maximum damage on the eyes at all times. If you didn't know, most things like mounts and minecarts cancel the Vortex set bonus, but wings don't. We take out the forward eye in a single cycle and the hand eyes follow quickly after. With the core exposed, I quickly blast it with Ichor and then obliterate it with our insanely overpowered SDMG to give the Moonlord the full OP treatment. This was so much fun to max out our character at each stage of the game and revisit all the new updates to the Ranger class. We've still got the Mage, Summoner, and Melee OP videos to update, so let me know in the comments which class you'd like me to do next. Also, if you have any other ideas for builds at various stages in this video, please let me know in the comments below. A huge thanks to our YouTube channel and Patreon members for supporting our channel. If you'd like to join, you can click the join button below this video for more info. I had an absolute blast making this video, and if you enjoyed it too, please smash the like button and consider subscribing for more fun videos like this. And here's the most important part as always, you all stay happy and I'll see you soon. This is HappyDays signing out. See ya!